what he's doing is disrupting order, but not disrupting his own order. He's disrupting the order that people have been trying to do the wrong way for the wrong reasons. And whether it's a massive flood or whether it's some of that legislation that you're talking about, God is disrupting Isaiah 45. God is disrupting what people have come to think is order because it benefits them. So we still.
How can God be there when that kind of evil was allowed to happen? So who wants to start our dialogue? I just set it up.
Yeah.
Ingrid?
Yeah, I will. My mother did refugee work in Poland right at the end of the war. For 4 years she was there helping feed and care for people coming out of the ghettos and the concentration camps. So I grew up with pictures, images, and conversations about it. So it's been part of my life. And but specifically for the Holocaust, and by no means do I have any simple answers, but to add a few layers to it to begin the conversation. And one of my greatest angers is when I look at and read about nations, France, even Poland and so forth, that went ahead and before Germany had entered, they were told the Jewish people don't belong, and they started putting them in separate places, in arenas, in separate cities and so forth. They started shunning them. And just the complicity of humanity before Germany ever entered their countries or started taking any Jewish people out. People were complicit in shunning them and putting them in, separating them from other humanity. The role of humanity, we read all over pastors and so forth that cooperated with making the destruction and the death of so many Jewish people possible. So we have to, the first place that I need to look is where were we? Where were the people? The number of people at Yad Vashem who are considered the righteous Gentiles, why is it, what, like maybe 5% of the population of Europe? No, 0.001, I forget now, but it was some percentage but just almost nobody. How many people stood up to protect other people? And why? Why? Why are we so quick to make others other? Why do we see videos today of people being beaten and videos where nobody's stepping up? They're taking videos, for heaven's sakes. So the question is throughout history, and certainly the Holocaust is just the massive put it in our face at our complicity with refusing to treat our fellow human being as all created in the image of God. And Abraham Heschel, and he managed to live because he came to the U.S. That's who Martin Luther King and Cornel West, the people in the civil rights, they were reading Abraham Heschel. And he says, and I can't quote him, but he has so many important, he said, to us, a small act of injustice, people are expendable. We talk about people's values. People are expendable, but to the prophets, it's a disaster. To us, a little life, way overlooked. I can't help you. To God, it's a disaster. It's a catastrophe. It's the end of the world. To the prophets who are hearing God's voice, every act of injustice, every human being that is overlooked, every poor person who is stepped on, to God, it is a disaster. And if we saw that, if we had God's heart for other human beings, and again, going back Kathy McDowell's book on the image of God in the Garden of Eden, every human being, which makes the scripture, Genesis 1 and 2, completely different than all the other ancient Near Eastern literature. Every human being is created in the image of God, not just the kings or the gods, every one of us. And so that, to me, is the core of where the Holocaust went wrong. of how it could even be possible. It's the core of how every atrocity is possible. When we start to marginalize and commodify people for our protection or to make us comfortable.
Okay.
The goal is looking at what are the different places, the agents, the sources that evil comes from. Most people are afraid to talk about evil. They don't want to think about it, so it tends to blindside them. Most people are, pretty much everybody has experienced some degree of trauma, and we all have areas in our life that where we remain paralyzed, and frequently we may not even be aware of it. So my goal in tomorrow also is to take evil apart and look at what are some of the sources, what are some of the areas through which evil can enter our lives. And the goal is also to thereby empower us, help us to think about it, reflect on where the evil has come from in our lives, what is our role, what are some of the things that we can do, and then also where is God in the midst of it? What is our response when evil has devastated? It doesn't, because in my life, through the things that I have been through, I came to the conclusion that evil was not going to take me out or those around me, anybody that I could help. And so that was a place that I had to come to after being paralyzed and feeling run over, backed up by fear and by fear of evil. So that's just a short snippet.
Okay.